1 second past midnight, March the 6th, 1957. The moment has come. Here in West Africa, a nation is born. Ghana is free. Prime Minister Kwame Nkrumah, his cap symbolizing prison sentences served in the struggle for independence, leads the rejoicing. The dawn of freedom lights up 92,000 square miles of independent land. In Accra, the capital city, on Independence Day, the people gather behind their chosen leader. This former tribesman is a symbol of their past and their future. He is a symbol of their youth, their aims, their hard-won victory. Representatives of 69 nations join the people to honor freedom. Authority is handed over, and the whole world takes note. From this day forth, Ghana's decisions will be made in Ghana. Her march to the future will follow the course she sets herself. Her destiny is now her own responsibility. It is a time to remember, time to listen to the sounds of freedom. Time for silence, too, for a moment of thought. Time to give thanks for the day that has been won. Time to offer prayers in the faiths of Africa. Prayers for the future, dedication to a purpose. As freedom begins, bitterness can be left behind. The former rulers leave, but their friendship remains. An empire's rule becomes equality within a commonwealth. When independence grows like this, justice is better served. Ghana's story points the way for others yet to be free. Ghana is new. Its history is old. Its name recalls a great West African empire of 1,000 years ago. Ancient forts recall the latter centuries, an era of traders from Europe, a time of gold and slavery, a time of darkness, and yet as well, the beginning of wealth and strength. Age-old ways of government come forward to play a part in modern times. Ghana's paramount chiefs still meet in today's Joint Provincial Council. The ways of the bush and the village are not to be forgotten or lightly set aside. Many of them have meaning for 20th century life. The ancient law and wisdom of the tribe, the customs, all are woven into the pattern of independence, helping to give the people continuity and strength. Africa's traditions have helped to form the ways of far-off lands. In turn, the ways of other people have come to Ghana, adding to the meaning of a free world society. As Ghana has moved toward representative self-government, the thinking and decisions of the tribal family and council have expressed a deep desire for orderly progress. There is a strong connection between the beliefs, the self-control, symbolized in the Durbar ritual, and the thoughts, the self-discipline, expressed in today's elected councils. The talking drums can still be heard. Today, they sound their voice in democracy's rhythm. Emerging from an ancient history, a young nation looks ahead and sets a course for the future. And in the happy moment of newborn freedom, Ghana asks itself some questions. What will the future be? How will the fruits of independence be used? Much has been done. Much more must yet be achieved. Ghana is making plans. The biggest project, a landmark of the future, proposes a great dam and hydroelectric power station at Agina. This great development may open up the whole nation from the northern territories to the Gulf of Guinea, much as the Volta River Bridge is already opening up territories that once were isolated. Outmoded ways of doing things will be replaced by new. There'll be more power, new waterways, new roads and transportation, saving time, saving labor and money. There'll be new jobs, more wealth for all. Ghana's rate of progress will be faster. But Ghana knows the danger of too much speed. The tasks ahead are complex and difficult. The help of other lands is needed. No nation travels by itself. Yesterday's colonialism has become today's partnership. The way ahead must be traveled in friendship and cooperation. At one of Africa's greatest cities, Accra, the way ahead from past through present to future is seen all at once. Dwelling place for 200,000, meeting place and crossroads for many of Ghana's 5 million citizens, the capital city reveals the energy of an emerging modern state. Here especially, Africa's newest sovereign nation shows itself to the world. It is a display of present and past together, of modern design and technology side by side with ancient customs, old traditions and achievements. In these streets, Ghana's different peoples come together. Akans, Ga-Adangmis, Airways, and many others, united in the work of government and commerce. Between one way of living and another, there can be conflict, but some of this is healthy, the constructive friction between old and new. And from this coming together emerges something more, the weaving of a truly democratic fabric. In Accra especially, Ghana can look at herself and see where she is going. She can chart her path to the future. A new nation must throw light on all it has in order to make the decisions of good government. Freedom is Ghana's greatest achievement. Also, it is Ghana's greatest responsibility. At the headquarters of one of Ghana's half a dozen political parties, the signs of self-government appear. Ghana is one of the first African countries where every citizen's secret ballot shapes the course of his government and its leader. Members of the government must be responsible public servants. In turn, the citizens must be responsible for what the government does. Here, there can be no masters. Each must work for all and dictate to none. In the short span of 6 years, Ghana's government has grown in truly representative form. Today, the nation is guided by the leader of the party the majority have elected. His government is guided by all the voters. His mission must be theirs. His objectives, their objectives. The Prime Minister's words must reflect the people's hopes and feelings, and must transform their will into action that will strengthen and extend their welfare. He must answer to 104 members of Ghana's Parliament, the National Assembly, elected by universal adult suffrage to represent all groups of citizens. Each citizen's rights are founded on the justice administered by Ghana's courts. They, in turn, are subject to the Constitution and to law based on African and English tradition. sealed with the people's consent. The everyday business of central government is supervised by ministries: communications, interior, health and works, trade and labor, agriculture, housing, finance, defense, external affairs, local government and education. These civil servants must plan and carry out the national policies the people have approved. The discussions, the papers, the thinking at Accra may seem removed from daily life in a village hundreds of miles away, but there is a strong connection between what is done here and what is needed throughout the land. A new school, a new construction program, a post office, the appointment of civil servants, a highway or a welfare plan, a health measure, a financing project, all depend on understanding between each minister and the citizens he must serve, an understanding of problems in every region, of urgent needs and costs that must be balanced between one community and another. This partnership is the foundation for the future. This partnership, this understanding, means communication. The 20th century's talking drums are electronic. Through the Ghana broadcasting system, the eastern and western regions, Ashanti, Togoland, and the Northern Territories all talk with one another in split seconds instead of weeks. One region, one tribe, one citizen comes to understand another. Arguments can be made clear, cooperation made easier. The broadcast may explain a new government policy, or an opposition or overseas view, or it may present a drama, humor, a song, or news. It is transmitted by a growing African technical staff, learning the ways and means of modern methods. Every hour of the day, sending or receiving, someone is learning something new. In the air age of today, communication means more than radio or telephone or fast mail. It means as well that the citizens of Accra, of Takoradi, Kumasi, and Tamale, and of Ghana's other cities and regions can shake hands with each other almost within the hour. It means that all of Africa becomes a neighborhood, moving toward better understanding, faster progress. It means that Ghana's contact with its fellow members in the United Nations grows closer, and for organizations such as the West African Airways Corporation, communication means an expanding process of Africanization. With the assistance of friendly nations, more and more Africans are being trained to take over, operate, and control the technical as well as the governmental machinery of Africa's daily life. As Ghana rises to meet the promise of the technical age, its own control of its own resources demands something even more important than progress at the machine or in the air. That something is progress in the mind, education. Here is Ghana's greatest need, its greatest hope, and in many ways, its greatest advance. For every pupil in school a few years back, there are now nearly 3. More than 500,000 in primary and middle schools. 20 years progress achieved in 5. The mission hut has been replaced by such vital centers as the Aburi Girls Secondary School. These are some of tomorrow's property owners, voters, citizens, trained in full equality with men. So that freedom will live and grow, education must extend to all. At Aburi, at Ashimota, at nearly 5,000 other schools run by government, by local authority, or by private groups, new generations are learning the way to grow in responsible independence. Also helping knowledge to expand are centers such as Accra's new public library. In all of Ghana, no object is more important than the book, here symbolized in stone. The book is the newest in a long line of treasures that reveal a great cultural tradition. At Kumasi's Prempeh Second Museum, that tradition is preserved for all, symbolized by the treasures of great chiefs of the past. The spirit of history lives on, the events once told by drums, the wisdom represented by the linguists' staffs. Here there is room for pride in Ghana's past traditions, in its living culture, in its future promise. The age-old institution of the chieftaincy is carried on today. Leaders, such as the Asantehene of Ashanti, bear much responsibility for keeping alive a heritage that was rich when civilization in many other lands had not begun. Guarding and adapting honored and established traditions, such as the organized authority symbolized in stool and umbrella, these duties are part of Ghana's healthy democratic growth. Ghana's health is also a matter of physical welfare too. Hospitals such as those at Kumasi and Accra strive to improve the lives of an ever-increasing body of citizens. Close by are preserved sacred relics of the past, such as the sword of an ancient high executioner. Legend says that no one can pull it from the ground. Modern Ghana will leave the sword where it is, because today in medical centers and mobile dispensaries, in training programs for doctors and nurses, the aim is life for humans, and death only for the tsetse fly, the malarial mosquito, the germs of river blindness and other diseases that long have held Africa back. In Ghana today, another basic foundation of health is being extended more and more, a vast housing program. The goal is a good dwelling place for every family, every citizen. Local and central government have joined in partnership with housing corporations and building societies. Private enterprise is being encouraged to take part in this essential program. In rural areas, roofing loans to individual home builders are making possible a 20th century way of living. The result is health, and it shows. The face of the land is changing almost overnight as the houses spread by hundreds. It means a climb to a better family and community life, to more protection from crime, illness, and disaster. It also means a growing demand for more tile, more brick, more timber and concrete. There is a healthy fever here, a fever of building, but it is carefully guided. Rent control helps to protect tenant and landlord alike. Social progress must proceed with justice. Like a growing body, progress means expanding arteries. New networks of roads are turning the African Trail into a paved highway, bearing heavier traffic every year. 1,400 miles of first-class roads exist in 1957. Soon, there will be many hundreds more. This program is a major item in Ghana's National Development Plan. But greater than the cost is the benefit to all, another promise of the way ahead. And while the face of the land is changing, the depths below are being more explored. Beneath Ghana's surface is greater wealth than has yet been touched in all her history. Mines, such as those at Tarkwa and Konongo, are bringing to light some of Africa's greatest riches. On the development of these natural resources depends much of the nation's future. Here there is precious gold, treasured all over the world. Hard diamonds needed for industrial cutting. Bauxite vital to aluminium production. Keystone of the Volta River project. Possible cornerstone of future prosperity. And there is also manganese, universally needed for alloys of steel. Above these riches is another, a fertile agricultural belt which already has established Ghana as the world's greatest producer of cocoa, nearly 250,000 tons every year. Cocoa is still the most important crop, providing much of Ghana's revenue and occupying most of her agricultural workers. Here is an industry developed by African initiative, by 300,000 farmers, many of whom own their own farms. Machines have yet to replace human hands, but improvements are on the way in planting, growing, harvesting, and processing, thanks to growing cooperation between the farmers and the West African Cacao Research Institute. The target is a new deal for cocoa, an end to the swollen shoot disease, the development of better soil, heavier yielding trees, a richer produce. And Ghana's agricultural stations are also working to develop fertile land for other crops. For Ghana's economy cannot safely depend on a fragile bean and its changing market price. The nation must diversify, must increase variety of product as well as quantity. More maize is needed, more millet, rice, ground nuts and fruits, more cola nuts, oils of palm and coconut, copra and shea butter. Ghana's 7,600 square miles of forest preserves already provide some of the world's most valuable timber, such as mahogany, prized on all continents. The future will bring an even greater return. Today, Ghana's forestry experts are working toward better conservation, a sustained yield, the improvement of both timber species and processing techniques. The growth of a tree means the growth of profitable industries. It means more timber for Ghana's homes, fine woods for furnishing them, and for meeting the growing demands of markets overseas. A long tradition of craftsmanship is carried on. Ghana's chief manufactured products come from her timber. In ever-increasing amounts, she turns it into chairs and cabinets, into matches and paper products, into wealth for all the nation. Ghana's economic future is at hand, a promise of new wealth and strength developed from her rocks, from her soil, and her forests. And from her waters, too. Off her 330 miles of coastline, 20,000 tons of fish are caught every year. This, too, is but a beginning. The government's plans call for powercraft instead of canoes, for new harbors, new machines. The Volta River project, by creating an inland sea, may double the fishing yield. Ghana is on her way to a future that yesterday was barely a dream. Already, her cocoa, metals, and timber have achieved a favorable world trade balance, earning more than the cost of the goods she buys from other lands. The more and better things she makes to sell, the more and better things she can buy. Capital goods and machinery with which she can produce yet more. Progress creates more progress, a dynamic chain reaction. The near future may offer a great new opportunity, a further transformation into a state where outmoded methods will be replaced by the economical machinery of modern industry. Already the world's largest exporter of cocoa and a major producer of timber and manganese, Ghana may yet become one of the world's great sources of aluminium. If the Volta River project can be built, laden backs and weary feet will give way to electricity, to power. It cannot happen overnight. The project must promise a sound investment. But if it can be done, tomorrow will not look like today. Drawing on Ghana's bauxite riches, new smelters fed by Volta power will produce aluminium in amounts that may bring to all in Ghana a greater income, less dependence on fragile crops, vast and varied new industrialization. The end result may be an increased prosperity, changing the life of every citizen. Ghana's second greatest construction project is already underway, the creation at Tema of one of Africa's largest man-made harbors. Breakwaters will soon enclose 500 acres of deep water where large ocean-going ships can dock right next to land. Mechanical loading and unloading here will move more tons than ever possible before. Using modern tools, Ghana multiplies her strength. Above all, she releases constructive energies that inspire all Africa. Today at Takoradi, tomorrow at Tema, and then throughout the country, the future is coming true. The opportunity for a higher standard of living than Africa has ever known. Already, the signs of changing times appear in places like Kumasi's Great Market. Here are exchanged not only goods, but ideas. Here, the products of ancient tribes and also of the Atom Age are offered side by side. Here are textiles from overseas and from Ghana's own looms, whose famed kente cloths are sought for their beauty all over the world. Here, the people's expanding needs are met, with modern household goods and delicacies from overseas and from Ghana's growing industries and farms. Here is revealed the development of modern living through ever-widening trade. Ghana is aiming to achieve more of everything that is her due. Better things, a more nutritious diet, a transformation from bare existence to abundant life. A rising standard of living, the investment in the future, these things take money. Thanks to Ghana's energies and to the faith and foresight of African and Britain alike, money has been found. Private investment from overseas is encouraged. Jointly operated enterprises, such as the United Africa Company and the Industrial Development Corporation, have provided capital for many projects, from harbors to hotels. And Ghana's growing labor organizations, allied with the International Confederation of Free Trade Unions, meeting in Accra in 1957, have taken vital cooperative steps in Ghana's forward course. A hard-working people must occasionally relax. A nation is also built with music and with dancing. Today in Accra, they dance the high life. The spirit is as old as history. Independence makes it something new. They also box, wrestle, play drafts and cards, and oware, games of chance and skill. But exercise is not only a matter of relaxation and physical health. In more and more youth clubs and community centers throughout the land, Ghana's young people are learning to experience something more. Call it social welfare. Feel it as fellowship. A spirit that comes to life on the volleyball court will carry over to the family, the neighborhood, the village and community. Ghana's future depends on its youth. So Ghana provides that youth with better ways and means of coming together to play, to learn, to understand. The game may have originated in Africa, in America, in England, or elsewhere. It doesn't matter. Sportsmanship is international. Fellowship at home leads to fellowship across the seas. A meeting of equals. Between a visitor from the United States and a friend in Ghana, there is much to share. And with the sharing of ideals, people can head for the same good objectives. Here in a nation unanimously welcome to the United Nations, democracy is more than understood. Better understanding in the modern world is a major goal. Ghana's major weapon is her nationwide search for knowledge by young and old alike. Organizations such as the Vernacular Literature Bureau train and send teachers all over the land. More and more are learning to know, learning to teach others. The class may include parents, farmers, a chief, a tribe. Through adult education, the elders learn at last to read and write the languages they speak. Whatever the subject, it contributes to responsible citizenship, to knowledge of self-government, of how obligations must be met and rates honestly paid, of how local councilors must be chosen to serve both village and country. The success of this nation is in the hands of each and all. It is a matter of learning to choose with wisdom. Discipline and domestic science help train tomorrow's wives and mothers. A lesson well learned becomes a habit. A clean and orderly house makes more possible a healthy and organized community and nation. In a few years, the number of students in trade and technical education has multiplied threefold. Tomorrow, the number must be even greater. Hunger, poverty, ignorance, and disease can only be conquered by all of Ghana's skills together. The search to learn, to know, goes forward. More students, more tools, more books, more weapons against ancient evils, against fear, bitterness, and waste. Ghana is a nation of students and teachers both, and today she can do far more than dream of the future. These are the minds and the hands that will build it. Ghana's future has begun, symbolized by the new buildings of the University College near Accra. Working with Ghana's other institutions and with the University of London, this great center is training the teachers, the leaders, and the public servants of tomorrow. A tomorrow taking shape today. Problems can be talked out here, conflicts resolved in sharing ideas and feelings and hopes. Ghana's aims can be defined here, its heritage and its sacred entitlement carried forth with responsibility to Ghana, to Africa, to all the free world. These are representatives of a sovereign nation, in the forefront of Africa's hopes, setting forth to carry out the Prime Minister's independence message. Let every one of us show ourselves worthy and fitted for the tasks that lie ahead. Today in Ghana, there is a vision of the future. How will that future come about? Today in Ghana, the people are pointing the way in freedom and in justice.